The whisper came at exactly 12:03 a.m. Soft, shaky, terrified. "Mummy, please don't let him take me." Ngozi froze. She wasn't asleep. Sleep had been avoiding her lately. But hearing her daughter's voice drift through the tiny, dimly lit sitting room felt like someone had poured ice down her spine. Amaka stood barefoot near the doorway, hugging a worn teddy bear to her chest. The rechargeable lantern cast a weak glow on her face, revealing eyes red from crying and lips trembling like she was holding back a scream. And behind her, a shadow. Tall, still, waiting. Ngozi's heartbeat stumbled painfully. He was here. The man. The stranger she had made a decision with. A decision she had repeated to herself for days like a bitter medicine. Do it for your family. Do it for survival. Do it because you have no choice. But standing here now, looking at her frightened 14-year-old daughter, the justification felt small. Cowardly. Weak. Too late. He stepped fully into the light. His face was calm. Too calm. "Madam," he said politely, "I told you I don't like delays." He spoke with quiet confidence, the kind of confidence that didn't match his old brown shirt and worn slippers. He didn't dress like a wealthy man. He didn't shine. He didn't boast. Nothing about him said rich, except his calmness. The type of calmness people with dangerous opportunities possessed. Amaka shook her head quickly, voice cracking. "Mummy, I'll go back to school. I'll help you sell oranges again. Please don't send me anywhere." Ngozi's eyes stung. She wished Amaka would stop talking. Stop begging. Stop looking at her with those eyes that seemed to ask, "What kind of mother are you?" Ngozi swallowed hard and forced her voice to stay steady. "My daughter, this is temporary. He will help us. You will live better. You will go to school again." But her words felt hollow, even to her. Amaka pressed the teddy bear tighter. "Then why does he want me in the night?" The man stepped closer, expression unchanged. "I travel by dawn," he said simply. "I move quietly. That is how I've survived. The earlier we leave, the better." He wasn't threatening. He wasn't harsh. He wasn't loud. And somehow, that made everything worse. Ngozi nodded weakly, even though her stomach twisted with regret. The man glanced at the small Ghana must-go bag packed earlier. "Is that her load?" "Yes," Ngozi whispered. Amaka's eyes widened. "You really packed my things?" Ngozi's breath shook. "Amaka, don't start again. I'm doing this for us." "For us?" Amaka whispered. "Or for the money?" The question sliced through the room. Ngozi's eyes dropped instantly to the nylon bag on the table. Black, small, innocent-looking, filled with 250,000 naira. Money she and her husband had never held at once. Money that could fix rent. Money that could feed the younger children. Money her husband believed had come from a cooperative group, because Amika didn't know. He was snoring softly in the bedroom, unaware that his wife had traded their daughter's future in the dark. Amaka wiped her cheek with the back of her hand. "Mummy, please. Don't let him take me." Ngozi's throat tightened painfully. She looked away. She couldn't handle the guilt in her daughter's voice. So she turned to the man instead. "Please, promise me you'll treat her well." His calm eyes met hers. "I already told you. I take care of what is mine." Ngozi flinched. He didn't mean it the way it sounded. Or maybe he did. Amaka took a step backward. "Mummy, you're giving me to a strange man. You don't even know him." Ngozi snapped, more out of fear than anger. "Don't talk like that. Respect your elders." Amaka stared at her mother, truly stared. and something in her gaze broke. "You're not doing this for me," she said softly. "You're doing it because you're tired of suffering." She wasn't wrong, but she wasn't entirely right either. Ngozi dropped into a chair, shaking. "Amaka, please, don't disgrace me. Just listen." Her daughter wiped fresh tears. "What if something happens to me there?" Ngozi closed her eyes for a moment, steadying herself. "Nothing will happen. He is helping us." Amaka whispered, "Helping who?" Silence. Even the generator outside seemed to pause. Then the man cleared his throat. "It's time." He reached for the bag. Ngozi stood quickly, blocking him. "Wait." Her voice trembled. Let me hug her." She turned to her daughter, arms open. Amaka didn't move. For the first time in her life, the girl hesitated to accept her mother's embrace. Then slowly, painfully, she walked forward. Ngozi pulled her close, fighting tears. "My child, forgive me," she whispered shakily. "One day you will understand." Amaka stiffened. "No, Mummy, one day you will understand." Ngozi broke. A sound escaped her throat. Not a scream, but not silence either. Something in between. The man stepped toward them. "We need to leave." Amaka pulled away from her mother, picking up her teddy bear. Her eyes were swollen, her breath shaky. She paused at the doorway. Then she said the words that would haunt Ngozi forever. "If I don't come back, tell Daddy it wasn't my fault." Ngozi's knees buckled. Before she could respond, the man gently guided Amaka out. The door closed. The latch clicked. Silence flooded the room. Ngozi, staring at the money on the table, whispered one tortured question. "What have I done?" For the first 2 days after Amaka left, Ngozi moved like a ghost inside her own house. She swept the floor 3 times, boiled water she didn't use, scrubbed the same plate over and over again, stared too long at the empty space where Amaka usually peeled oranges. Everything felt wrong. Everything felt missing. She tried to act normal because Emeka was still in the dark. He asked casually, "How far? Has Amaka settled with your cousin?" Ngozi nodded quickly, avoiding his eyes. Yes, she said she's fine." Lie number 1. The lie tasted like dust in her mouth. Emeka smiled proudly. "That's my girl. She will make us proud. She has sense." Ngozi forced a smile and turned away before tears betrayed her. At night, she couldn't sleep. When she closed her eyes, she saw her daughter's frightened face. When she opened them, she heard the echo of her last words. "If I don't come back, tell Daddy it wasn't my fault." Ngozi's heart squeezed painfully each time the memory returned. She prayed more in those 2 days than she had prayed in the entire month. "God, protect her. Let the man be a good person. Please don't let trouble find my child." But deep down, she feared her prayers were coming too late. Amaka arrived at Chief Anayo's compound just before 3 a.m. The gate was tall and stiff-looking, the fence lined with tall trees that blocked the building from the street. It wasn't a mansion, but it wasn't a poor man's home either. It was the kind of house people would describe as comfortable, big enough to raise questions, small enough to avoid suspicion. A woman came out when the car honked. She was older, with sharp cheekbones and a wrapper tied tightly around her waist. Her eyes were cold. "This is the girl," Anayo said, stepping out. The woman looked Amaka up and down, not with kindness, but like someone assessing a piece of furniture. "How old?" she asked. 14. She snapped her fingers. "Follow me." She didn't ask for Amaka's name. She didn't offer a smile. And she didn't care that Amaka was shivering from fear and cold. Inside the compound, the air felt heavy. Too quiet, too dark, too secretive. The woman pointed toward a small side building. "You'll sleep in there." Amaka clutched her teddy bear, voice small. "Ma, where is your daughter? Or who will I be helping?" The woman scoffed. "Helping? Nobody said anything about helping. You will work." Amaka blinked in confusion. "But Sir said—" "Sir talks too much." The woman cut her off sharply. "In this house, you do what I say." She handed Amaka a small mat. "You will wake by 5 a.m. You'll sweep the compound, clean the veranda, wash plates, fetch water. No sleeping late, no talking too much, and no wandering around." Amaka held the mat tightly, her fingers cold. "My name is—" "I didn't ask for your name," the woman snapped again. Amaka lowered her eyes. This was not what her mother promised. This was not school. This was not opportunity. This felt like punishment. Or worse, it felt like prison. By the 5th day, Emeka began noticing small details. Too small for most men to notice. But a father who loves his daughter? He notices everything. "Ngozi," he said one morning. "Why haven't we spoken to Amaka since she left?" Ngozi stopped stirring the pot instantly. Her back stiffened. "Network problem," she lied. "You know Ibadan network." "Your cousin's line too?" "Yes. Line number 2. Emeka frowned. And that was when he noticed something else. Her eyes were swollen. She had been crying. "Ngozi," he said quietly, "are you sure our daughter is okay?" Ngozi's throat tightened. She couldn't speak. She nodded quickly and ran to the bathroom. Inside, she locked the door and wept silently into her wrapper. One evening, Emeka came home early. Ngozi was startled. She hadn't expected him. He entered the room holding a small notebook. "Ngozi, come." She wiped her eyes and sat. "I called your cousin today. Again. 5 times. Ngozi froze. "She didn't pick," Emeka continued. "I called a friend who knows her. They said her phone has been on for 2 days. So why is she not answering our own number?" Ngozi opened her mouth, but no sound came out. "Do you want to tell me something?" She shook her head desperately. No, nothing. Maybe she's busy." Emeka watched her closely. Then he whispered the sentence that broke her. "Ngozi, you are hiding something from me." Her heart slammed against her ribs. Her fingers trembled. Her lips quivered. No, Look at me," he snapped. She flinched, slowly, painfully. She looked into his eyes. Emeka's voice softened, but the softness made it hurt more. "Ngozi, where is my daughter?" Ngozi's spirit collapsed. Her eyes overflowed instantly. Her breath broke into pieces. And before she could gather the strength to answer, Emeka repeated, this time shaking, "Where is Amaka?" The room fell silent, but the silence was not empty. It was full of guilt, full of fear, full of truth waiting to explode. Ngozi opened her mouth. But before she could speak, before she could confess, before she could even breathe, a loud knock hit the door. Bam! Emeka and Ngozi froze. Another knock. Louder, more urgent. Bam! 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 Emeka slowly rose to his feet. "Ngozi," he whispered. "Who knows we're home at this time?" Ngozi's blood went cold. Because she knew. She knew exactly who could be knocking like that. And why. Her lips trembled as she whispered, "Oh God, it's too soon." Emeka turned sharply. Who is too soon? She couldn't answer. Because answering meant confessing. And confessing meant destroying her marriage. The knocking came again. Harder, angrier. Bam, bam, bam. "Ngozi," Emeka whispered urgently. "Open this door now." But her feet refused to move, because the truth waiting outside was darker than anything she had prepared for. The knocking shook the whole sitting room. Bam! 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 The plates on the tray rattled. The lantern flickered. Ngozi's heart slammed against her chest. Emeka stepped backward, confusion cutting across his face. Ngozi, who is knocking like this? At this time? Ngozi couldn't answer. Her lips trembled. Her fingers shook. Her breath kept breaking in the middle. Because she knew. She knew that knock. She had felt that same heaviness the night she sold her daughter. The night she closed the door behind her child. And deep inside her, a voice whispered, "He has returned." Emeka walked toward the door, but Ngozi rushed forward and grabbed his arm. "Don't open it," she cried. He yanked his arm away. "Why?" Tears rolled down her cheeks. "Emeka, please, don't open." Bam! 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 This time, the knock sounded like it came from someone who had no patience left. Emeka's face hardened. He pushed Ngozi aside and pulled the door open. The night breeze blew in, and standing outside was a woman, not a man. Not Chifanayo, a woman. She looked exhausted. Her hair scattered, wrapper tied roughly around her waist, slippers dusty as if she walked a long distance. Her eyes were swollen like she had been crying for hours. She held something in her hand, a small object wrapped in nylon. Ngozi squinted. "No, not something. A teddy bear. Amaka's teddy bear. The same one she carried out of the house the night she was taken." Ngozi's legs weakened instantly. "Mama, please," the woman whispered. "I've been looking for this house. My name is Rose. Madam Rose." Ngozi stumbled backward into the chair. Her palms turned cold. Emeka frowned. "Who are you? What do you want? And why are you holding my daughter's toy?" Madam Rose's lips trembled. "I came because I couldn't sleep, because my conscience is not clean, because I have a daughter too, and if someone did this to her, I would want to know." Emeka's chest rose sharply. "What are you talking about? Where is my daughter?" Madam Rose looked away for a moment. Then she whispered, "She ran away." Silence. Everything fell silent. The wind, the generator outside, even the insects. Ngozi clutched her head. "Ran away?" Emeka barked. "Ran where? From who? Why?" Madam Rose didn't blink. "Because she was not safe." Emeka staggered back like he'd been kicked. "What do you mean my daughter was not safe?" Madam Rose wiped her face. "I don't know where she is. I woke up this morning, and she was gone." She squeezed her small body through the broken part of the back gate and escaped. Ngozi let out a choking sound. "Jesus, Jesus, Jesus." Emeka grabbed Madam Rose by the wrapper. "You better talk now before I lose my mind. Why was my daughter not safe?" Madam Rose broke down. "I begged my husband to stop bringing girls into the house. I begged him, but he refused. He always said he was helping families, but he lied. I saw the way he looked at your daughter. I knew she had to leave before something terrible happened." Emeka froze. Ngozi covered her mouth. Their daughter had been living in danger, and they didn't even know. Madam Rose continued shakily. "She cried every night. She begged for her mother. She said she didn't belong there. She said her mother sold her." Her voice cracked. "She worked from morning till night. She was suffering. That house was not what your wife was promised." Emeka turned slowly toward Ngozi. His eyes darkened. "Ngozi." His voice dropped, cold and empty. "What did you send our daughter into?" Ngozi sobbed violently. "I didn't know. I didn't know. He told me. He said he was wealthy. He said she would go to school. He said, Emeka shouted. Ngozi, you gave our child to a complete stranger. For what? For money? Ngozi collapsed to the floor. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. God forgive me. Madame Rose held out the teddy bear. This is all she left behind. Emeka snatched it. The small bear looked lifeless in his hands. He smelled it. It still carried Amaka's scent. He pressed it to his face. Then he sank into a chair and began to cry. Not like a grown man holding back, but like a father who had lost everything. Ngozi crawled toward him. Emeka, please forgive me. He lifted his head slowly. His face was red, his eyes swollen, his voice shaking with disbelief and pain. You sold my daughter, and now she is missing. Ngozi clutched his leg. I did it for us. Emeka jerked away sharply. For us? You did it for yourself, for your shame, for your pride, for your fear of poverty. Not for us. Ngozi sobbed uncontrollably. Please forgive me. Emeka stood up suddenly. He grabbed his slippers. Ngozi, I am going to look for my child. Ngozi nodded desperately. I will come with... No. The word came out flat, final. You will stay here. She froze. Emeka, please. I can't stay. My daughter. He turned to face her. The sorrow in his voice was worse than anger. You lost that right the night you gave her away. Ngozi gasped. Her heart shattered. Madame Rose lowered her gaze. I will help search too. I owe her that much. I owe you that much. Emeka nodded and walked to the door. Ngozi, he said without looking back. Pray for her, because if anything happens to that child... He paused. His silence screamed louder than words. Then he continued, voice breaking. If anything happens to Amaka, I don't know if I will ever forgive you. He stepped out. Madame Rose followed him. The door closed. Ngozi was alone. Truly alone. She dragged herself across the floor like someone whose legs had forgotten how to function. She reached the teddy bear Emeka left on the chair and hugged it tightly. She pressed her face into it, inhaling her daughter's scent. And she wept. Not gently, not gracefully, but the way a soul weeps when it realizes. The worst mistake you can ever make is the one you cannot undo. Outside, the night deepened. Dogs barked in the distance. Somewhere far away, a girl wandered the roads barefoot, hungry, afraid, running from the house that stole her childhood, and running toward a darkness even she didn't understand. But inside her heart, one thought tortured her. Mummy, why did you let me go? Back at home, Ngozi clutched the teddy bear against her chest. Her tears soaked its fabric. Her voice cracked into the empty room. God, please, don't let my daughter die. But sorrow responded with silence. A silence so heavy, it felt like punishment. A silence that wrapped itself around her and refused to let go.